Church, anyone who has ever traveled a long distance with a 4 or 5-year-old child will know that it can be quite an experience. Some of them will make demands for a bathroom break every 3-4 miles. Some will throw endless tantrums. Some will almost make you go crazy with the question, are we there yet? I hope you understand what I'm saying. The challenges you face traveling with a 4-year-old is likened to the challenges that God has traveling with you through the journey of life. As we thank God for the month of February and for thus far that He has helped us this year, I want us to look at some of the challenges similar to those of a parent traveling with a 4-year-old. Let us bow our heads this morning and ask God to show us. The Bible says, he who thinks that he's standing should take it lest he falls. Ask God to show you how you are doing in this journey of life. Let the word of God this morning challenge you. Let the word of God this morning remind you of what the challenges of God could be taking you through the life. Heavenly Father, perfect your word in the hearts of your children and let your name be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Some of the challenges that you face as a parent are the challenges that God faces. I'll just give you 3 and I'll advise you and we'll start dancing. One of the challenges that God faces and the parents face is saying no to those numerous demands. If a parent honors all the child's requests during a journey, they will never get there. Same way, if God indulged you and grants all your requests, you can imagine the chaos the world will be in. People will ask God for something that does not belong to them. You just see somebody else's husband and say, I like that one. There will be chaos. So God does not indulge in answering all our requests. God sometimes says no because we are His children, just like you say no to your children. In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 17, Paul was talking about light afflictions. To most of us, light afflictions means God's occasional no. He says, for our light affliction, which is a no from God, which is but for a moment, because God sometimes says, not now. He's working for us what? A far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. It feels like affliction when God says no. But without those occasional no's, you will never ever get to your destination. So I want to ask you this morning, if God must choose between your earthly satisfaction and your heavenly destination, which would you wish He chooses? That's why He says no to you sometimes. Because He's interested in a greater result. Another challenge that parents have is describing the length of the journey. How do you describe a 12-hour drive to a 4-year-old? Their concept of time is different from yours. The way they perceive things, the way they think about it is different. So what do? Do you tell your child that the journey will take us 20 episodes of SpongeBob? Or do we say 2 episodes or 10 episodes of Jimmy Neutron? Because that's how they think. They know how long it takes for one SpongeBob episode. So sometimes it's a challenge to describe the length of the journey. Their concept of time is different from yours. And it's one of the dilemmas that God has. Because his concept of time is different from ours too. That's why when you scream, how long, God? How long must I endure this sickness? How long must I endure this paycheck? How long must I endure this loneliness? God simply says, a little while longer. A little while longer could mean 20 years. In God's light years. It could be painful. Why? Because our concept of time differs from God's. David said in Psalm 39 verse 5, the New Living Translation, he said, you have made my life no longer than the width of my hand. He said, my entire lifetime is just a moment to you. At best, each of us is like a breath. And that's why we don't perceive it the way God does. According to 2 Peter chapter 1 verse 6, perseverance is the 5th stage of spiritual growth. And most of us are not there yet. Most of us have only stopped at faith. We have not added virtue to faith. We have not added to virtue knowledge. We have not added to knowledge self-control. And it's only after we have gone past self-control that perseverance comes. So we are way back. So God can really not explain to us the concept of time because we have not even learned how to persevere. When you grow to the level that God knows you can persevere, he will tell you more things. When Jesus Christ was getting ready to go, he called his disciples and told them in John 16 verse 12. He said, I still have many more things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. There are some things that if God had told you that you are going to wait 20 years for, you may not be a Christian today. He couldn't tell you everything. Some of you started the journey to become a citizen or green card holder in this country 20 years ago. If God told you that you will still be perambulating, you probably will be back at home. He doesn't tell you everything. Why? Because you don't have the capacity yet. Because you don't have the concept to understand what he's explaining to you. And that's why he said in verse 13 that a time will come when the Holy Spirit comes, and as you grow in perseverance, you grow in the use of the Holy Spirit. He says, however, when the Spirit of the truth has come, he will guide you into all truth. For he will not speak of his own authority, but whatever he hears, he will speak. And he will tell you things to what? To come. So as long as you are a 4-year-old, there's no way God can describe to you the concept of the journey or the length of the journey or all the things that are involved in the journey. Another challenge that parents have is using the destination as a motivation. You know, if you are taking a 6-year-old that was at Disney World last year, and you are telling him, let's go to Disney World this year, you don't have to motivate him, he's motivated. If you tell him that if you don't get all A's, you are not going, he will get all A's. Are you following me? It's a concept that is only possible for someone that has been there before. But if you're taking a 4-year-old that has never been to Disney World and doesn't know the pleasures of Disney World, telling him that Disney World is fantastic is a waste of time. We have not been to heaven. So we think that this beautiful earth is much more, because we don't have a concept of what is yet to come. But I tell you, church is better. It's more beautiful. It's more glorious. It's undescribable. But it's a challenge that God has. It's a challenge He has because He cannot use what you have not seen to motivate you. That's why we want to sit and feed fat here. That's why we love, everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die. But God tries, He tries so much. And that's why He said in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 9, He says, you haven't seen anything yet. He says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, hearts cannot even comprehend what I have prepared for those who love me. He was trying to describe what is yet to come. So that maybe the concept of what is or what is to be will encourage you. Church, hang in there. There's a better future. Amen. The Bible says, the wise man says in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 8, it says the end of a thing is better than the beginning of it. There's a better future. It's not about here alone. It's not about now alone. There's something else. It's greater. And I pray that in your subtle moments, God will give you a picture of what He has to come. But let me give you a few pointers. Let me give you 7 pointers quickly of things that will help you survive the journey. During this journey, just a few wisdom, and we'll go. Number 1, and I'll be quick, so you got to listen. Love God more than you love Him, more than you fear hell. What did I say? On your journey to heaven, use love as your motivation, not the fear of hell. Why? Love is more consistent than fear. Fear comes and goes. Fear visits and leaves. But love is forever. Love is consistent. Love overcomes all things. Love overcomes pain, anguish. It overcomes everything. So if you use love to motivate you, if love draws you to God, there's no ending to your affection for God. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 8 says, love never fails. Prophecies are words of men. They are motivated by man. Since prophecies will fail. Tongues, they will fail. They will cease one day. Knowledge, it will vanish away, but love is forever. So if you are motivated by love, you are probably going to make it. Because through thick and thin, love is constant. Love, God loves you now and He loves you forever. He will never stop loving you and He will not love you less. Number 2, when no one is watching, live as if someone is. Because your character determines your destiny. And you are who you are when no one is watching. Joseph was alone in Potiphar's house. There was nobody here up there but him and Potiphar's wife. He could have gotten away with it. But he said something in Job 39 verse 9. Sorry, Genesis 39 verse 9. The C part of it. He said, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against who? God. It was only him and Potiphar's wife that were there. But he did not see Potiphar. He did not see anybody else but God, because as he was standing there, he had the image of Jesus Christ standing by him. And that motivated him to do good. Live knowing that God is watching you. When no one is watching, live as if somebody is. Number 3. When you can't see God's hand, trust His heart. That sometimes that the darkness around us is so much, the pain is so much, the anguish is so much that there's so much covering our eyes, we can't see God's hands anymore. Listen very well, you will hear his heartbeats. He's always there with you. His love is unending. You can trust his heart. Even when you are asking for something and you're not getting it, just trust his heart. He has a plan. Jeremiah 31 verse 3, the New Living Translation. It says, long ago, the Lord said to Israel, I have loved you, my people, with an everlasting love, with unfailing love, I have drawn you to myself. That is the God we serve. Amen? Amen. So when you don't see his hands, when you are asking and you're not getting, trust his heart. He has a plan. Number 4, succeed at home first. Be more interested about what the people that live with you think about you. Because they are the best judge of who you are. Those you live with. Those who wake up with you. Those who fellowship with you in church. Those who are around you always. Strive to please the closest people to you first. Don't be a serpent at home and a dove in the public place. Live your life inside out. Jesus Christ said, what defiles a man is what comes out from a man. There was a time he was very upset with the Pharisees. And he was telling them that, why do they present themselves as holy outside? Everybody sees them as righteous. But inside them is dark and dirty. And he said to them in Matthew 23, verse 25 and 26, it says, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you cleanse the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of extortion and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisees. First cleanse the inside of the cup, so that the outside may be clean also. A lot of people present their outside to be clean, but their inside is dirty. If your wife thinks you are a nobody, you are truly a nobody. If your husband thinks you are demonic, you are probably demonic. Cleanse from your inside. Purify yourself first from inside. And what you present will not be fake. Number 5. Listen twice as much as you speak. The less you speak, the more difficult it becomes for people to know you are not wise. When you don't open your mouth, they don't know how foolish you are. But there's a more serious reason why you should speak less than you can. We commit more sins with our mouth than any other part of our body. That's why James said, James 1:19 says, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. What James was saying is that wrath comes out from the mouth. And if you go to the next verse, you will see what he was saying clearly there. He says, for the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. The content of your mouth can defile you, so speak less. As a matter of fact, he goes to say that too much talking make your religions useless. Verse 26. He says, if anyone among you thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this one's religion is what? Useless. Number 6. Treat people like angels. You will meet some, and you will help make some. Most people around you have issues. We all do. But treat them differently and they will notice you. Don't deal with people based on who they are. Deal with them based on who you are. Treat everybody like angels. Some of them are true angels when you meet them. But by your character, by your interaction with them, you can even make some of them become angels. Jesus Christ decided in John chapter 4 to take a diversion because of one woman in Sychar. He met this woman at the Jacob's well. To everybody, that woman was a condemned person. She was a no good. And the Bible said she went to the well at the 6th hour. She went at a time that nobody was going to the well. She wanted to be alone. She didn't want to mix because she has story. She has a history. She's been married 4 times. And she was shacking with a 5th man. They were not married. They were living in adultery. So she didn't want to be, everybody was always talking about her. So she woke up at a very long time and went to the well to avoid people. But she met Jesus. And Jesus did not see the impurity in her. Jesus did not see the sin in her. Just saw a woman, saw a possibility, saw an evangelist. And treated her like so. Jews and Samaritans don't mix. John chapter 4 verse 9. They don't mix, they're not friends. But Jesus Christ went out of his way to talk to her. She was even surprised. He said, how is it that you being Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. But Jesus Christ went out of his way. But this woman became great. She became an angel. Verse 39. The Bible says, and many of the Samaritans of that city believed him because of who? Because of the woman who testified. Jesus Christ made an angel of her. Let me tell you what happened. They listened to her initially. Let's read from verse 40 to 42 as we round up. He said, so when the Samaritan had come to him, they urged him to stay with them, and Jesus Christ stayed with them 2 more days. And many more believed because of his own words. Now they sat down and they believed Jesus. Your character can bring somebody to church, and you don't have to do any more. God will do the rest. The Bible says, then they said to the woman, now we believe, not because of what you said, woman, but because for we ourselves have heard him. And we now know that this is indeed the Christ, the Savior of the world. 7 is completion. Let me stop at 7. I have more to say. Never let the important be the victim of trivial. Every event in your life do not have the same value. The things that you do, you must know how to prioritize. You must know what is important and what is not. There are things in your life that are more important. Don't treat them with levity. Don't let the unimportant become more important. I was telling the workers this morning that when they were going to choose Matthias, in Acts chapter 1 verse 22 to 23, they were looking for somebody that was consistent. Somebody that kept fellowship. Not somebody that comes on Sundays alone. No, somebody that comes on Sundays and Wednesdays. Somebody that participates in everything that we do as a church. Somebody that participates in fellowship. When the women call a meeting, that person is there. Those are the kind of people that God uses. And it says, because there are things in your life that are not as important as each other. It should be God, family. And you must be able to know that your family, your church family, is important. The Lord will help you. Yeah. As you begin to prioritize in your life, as you begin to put things straight. Jesus Christ said in John chapter 9 verse 4, because you may not have enough time to do everything, but there are things you must do. He says, I walk the walk of him who sent me. For while it is day, the night is coming, when no man can walk. Do more for God now, when you are young and healthy. Because a day will come that you will need a stick to come to church. A day will come that everybody will have to clear the road because you are coming and you are going to take 2 hours to walk from that time to that. Do more. Prioritize. Put your things in order. Because the journey for some is short. The journey for some is long. But we are all on that journey. Let us bow our heads. As we continue with this journey with God, God never said it's going to be easy, but He promised that the destination will be worth it. That is the promise He had given us. That what we are going to is much better than what we are coming from. So if you want to join that journey, this is an opportunity for you this morning. You have to consciously declare for Jesus. It is not a journey that you can imagine you are part of. No, it's a journey of declaration. He does not force you into His vehicle. You will willingly accept Him or reject Him. And He said in His word that whoever is not with us is against us. So if you are not accepting Him, you are rejecting Him. And if you are here this morning, and you're not sure that your name is in that book of life, don't be like the guy who was happy initially, excited, thinking that he had it all right, but he had it wrong. When they searched the book, his name was not there. Is your name in that book this morning? If your name is not in that book, or you are not sure. I did baptism by immersion many times because I wanted to be sure and sure. If you're not sure this morning, I want you to be on your feet and say, Father, I am coming to you. Accept it. Just be on your feet. If you're not sure that your name is in that book, there's an opportunity to start the journey. Maybe you are on the journey and you got out of the truck. Maybe you got out for a while to do your things. But you want to come back in, stand on your feet too, and say, Father, I accept you. As I come to you, Lord Almighty, God bless you. God bless you. You're standing, stand on your feet. Stand boldly. Stand because you are standing with Jesus. You're standing firm. You're standing with your Lord. Yes. Upstairs there, yes. Yes. If you're standing, stand. I'm going to wait 5 more seconds. You want to stand on your feet. You want Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior. You want to enter that boat. You want Him to accept you. You want to commit your life to Him. You want Him to be your Lord and your Savior. It's an opportunity. Don't miss it. As many that are standing, just say after me, Father, without being coerced, this morning, I submit my life unto you. I confess my sins, Lord Almighty, and I know that you are able to save me. I ask you to come into my life to be my Lord and my Savior. Write my name in the book of life. Let on that last day, fear and trembling be far away from me. By my choices this morning, I ask that you guide me all the days of my life and keep me in the path of righteousness. Lord, I thank you for these ones, Lord Almighty, because they have decided for you. Willingly, Lord Almighty, they have chosen to become yours. It's a journey that will be long or short. But whatever it is that their journey will be, stand by them, stand with them, sustain them, perfect their end, and let your name be glorified. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Blessed be your name. In Jesus' name.
Praise the Lord. One of the ways that we